You're listening to the Cool CLE Show.
I'm Jay, host of the Cool CLE Show, brought to you by CoolCleveland.com, putting you in touch with cool events, people, news, and neighborhoods in the Cleveland region. We're about a month away from the start of the regular baseball season, and we have a special guest in Marty Gitlin, a local author who has just finished a book about the Cleveland Indians called The Ultimate Cleveland Indians Time Machine, which is available from his website from March 1st and then from retailers on April 1st. Stay tuned as Marty joins us to talk about the unusual events he details in the book about the Indians' history from its inception in the late 1800s to the demise of the offensive Chief Wahoo. But first, here's some more events that I think should be on your calendar. Welcome House is dedicated to helping individuals with development disabilities living full and rewarding lives by providing a variety of residential services in an atmosphere of a caring community. Their fundraising event, Pins and Grins, on February 27th, is a night of bowling, games, food, and fun to benefit Welcome House. You can enjoy food, cocktails, bowling, karaoke, arcades, and much more at Punchbowl Social. Sponsorships or individual tickets are available by calling 440-356-2330, extension 230. That's 440-356-2330, extension 230. The Pipes and Drums of Cleveland Police need your help. It's their only fundraiser of the year, and it happens Saturday, March 2nd. Admission is only $10. There's going to be a DJ, dancing, drinks, and food, a Chinese auction, and they promise some great times. There's going to be a special appearance by the Columbus Police and Fire Pipes and Band Drum as well. It's Ice Wine Festival at the wineries of the Grand River Valley on March 2nd, 9th, and 16th. You can sample their finest ice wines and enjoy some very good food. Ferrante Winery, DeBon Vineyards, and much, much more in the area will be hosting various events. It's $6 per person at each participating winery. Career Day, March 3rd at the Cleveland Metro Park Zoo is a chance to explore the professional fields of animal care, veterinary medicine, education, and more. You can get close to small animals, meet the zoo staff, and take a behind-the-scenes tour. You get a real close look at the real work involved with these exciting careers and learn how we can all work together to secure a future for our wildlife. Cleveland's Corinne Parade and Festival will kick off with a 5K race at 10 a.m. on March 2nd. The day, of course, will be followed by the parade at noon and lots of musical and cultural performances, food and drink, ice carving, activities for the kids, and so much more. Admission is free and open to the public. Corinne is basically Slovenian Mardi Gras, celebrating the end of winter and the beginning of spring. Yes. And these guys will be at the Beachland Ballroom opening for Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band on March 10th. It's Cleveland's Window Dogs with Go Outside, released in November of last year.
Those paintings that you made for me to a starving fire. Each piece of the three burned brilliantly, shone some light in my heart, watching them nebulas bleeding. When you lose sight of your meaning in life, then what will you do? Will you drink, will you drive, or will keep you alive? And you die to get out, but you can't stop sinking high. I wanna go outside today. I just wanna get away from the walls of this place. It always feels like suffocating. Take all your faith clean off of your plate and then throw it out. I seen gold turn to trash, broken wood, breaking glass, and you try to forget, but you just quit asking. Oh, that I need some kind of machine that can erase the spots on my mind and the burn from your eyes. There's no sunshine here, it's just darkness lately. I wanna go outside today. I just wanna get away from the walls in this spend all my days wide awake. All my days, they all fade. And it's not that bad, it's not that bad at all. I feel alive today. It's all okay, don't feel like I'm suffocating. I got holiday. It's all okay, don't feel like I'm suffocating. Up in space, I feel safe. Up in space, higher. I spend all my days wide awake, and it's all okay, it's all okay.
That was Window Dogs with Go Outside, available from their Bandcamp. You can see them live at the Beachland on March 10th. All right, I'm really excited about our guest on this week's podcast. He's written nearly 100 books since 2006. AP rated him one of the top writers in Ohio, and he is also an award-winning sports writer. He's got a new book coming out. It's available March 1st. It's called The Ultimate Cleveland Indians Time Machine Book. Thank you so much, Marty Gitlin, for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So this apparently is some of the Indians' greatest moments, not just the World Series and sort of sporting and individual sporting achievements, but you highlight some very unusual events in, I guess, 119 seasons history of the tribe. What were some of your favorite stories that you captured in the book?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not just it's the greatest moments and the most and debacles of Cleveland Indians history too. It's just there's 27 chapters in the book, and each one is just about a different event or a person or a team, anything Indians related. In fact, the book actually goes back to before they were even called the Cleveland Indians. The first chapter is about the 1899 Cleveland Spiders. And the 1899 Cleveland Spiders finished with a record of 20 wins and 134 losses.
Fabulous.
The worst record in the history of baseball. And there were a lot of reasons for it. It's a really fun chapter about how the owner pretty much shipped all his best players to St. Louis, and he owned both the St. Louis team and the Cleveland team, and he shipped all his best players to St. Louis. And of course, that's illegal now. Owners can only own one team at a time. But that's a really fun chapter too. And it just kind of goes chronological from there, from 1899 to the present. The final chapter is about the demise of Chief Wahoo, which of course is a huge subject around here, and everything in between. So there's just a lot of fun stuff, and it's kind of like a fun, funny, colorful coffee table book.
Fabulous. And of course, a must-have for any Indians fan, which of course you are, you're definitely one. You're a diehard Indians fan, right?
More so than that, I covered the team as a sports writer for many years too. But yes, since my father once told me there was an Indians player in 1965 and at that era named Leon Wagner. My brother was at school camp at the time, and my father wrote a little note to my brother when he was at camp. He said that Leon Wagner just hit his 27th homer of the season, and I doubt that he's as happy about it as Marty is. That was his line. I still remember that. I was just a diehard Indians fan, and I've been throughout my whole life. And when I got to cover the team in the 90s, when they had an excellent team and went to the World Series twice, that was a real experience for me. I've been. I think that, and I told you this before. I think if someone told me that I had to speak 24 hours nonstop about one subject in the world, or I would drop dead, I would pick the Cleveland Indians and not break a sweat. I could, that's just the way it is. I don't think there's any subject in the world that I know more about or am more passionate about than the Cleveland Indians.
And I'm sure it'll come through in the book. And with all this firsthand experience of covering the Indians, following their ups and their downs, when you were getting together and researching for this book, I got to know, was there anything that was like an aha moment for you that you were surprised to uncover?
I would say that normally when I do books, and I've had about 150 books published now, and most of them are educational books, but a lot of them now are trade books. And I have a book coming out about Kyrie Irving, formerly of the Cavaliers and all that. And there are a lot of aha moments when I do most books. Mm-hmm. There really weren't too many when I did this one because I was so, I consider myself so well versed on the subject that, but I think some of the very early days of the Cleveland Indians, there were the Cleveland Spiders of 1899 and Addie Joss, who pitched a perfect game in 1908, and he died shortly thereafter. And some of those that period of time where I was a little bit short on knowledge, that those were some interesting. There was some interesting research done there, but generally anything from 1920 and beyond, I was pretty well versed on it, so there wasn't anything that really surprised me. It was just a matter of telling the story, telling it, and I take a lot of pride in using a lot of humor and writing in a very entertaining fashion. And it was just a matter of letting my passion do the rest and trying to write as passionately and as interestingly and as informatively as I could.
And you talk about some of these quite interesting moments from the early 1900s. One of the things that I wrote in the promo material for there was a 10-cent beer night in 1974 when drunken fans stormed the pitch. I mean, some of this stuff, a rookie striking out every batter, some of these things seem like they just couldn't happen nowadays. How have you seen the game change? Do you think there's room for the Indians to have more book-worthy, momentous occasions in the future?
Oh, sure, I believe it. I remember the 1974 game, and I was 17 years old, actually, and I was listening to the game on the radio. And the Indians had actually come back to tie the game at 5-5 in the ninth inning, and I was so into the Indians, and I was so passionate about them, and I was so mad when the fans, these drunk and crazy fans, and it was the Indians' fault for having a 10-cent beer night in the first place. When they stormed the field, there was like 25,000 fans there, which was way, way more than they usually drew, and so I was very upset that the Indians tied the game, and then they had to forfeit the game because the fans were just too
it's chaos,
out of hand. But absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt about it. There's the claim right now is that the Dolans who own the team are not spending enough money, but that's a situation throughout baseball. The Indians have dominated the division over the last 4 or 5 years, and I think they're going to win it this year again. So there are once you make the playoffs, anything can happen. It's just a matter of winning a World Series. The Indians have gone longer without winning a World Series than any team in baseball. The last time they won it was in 1948, and that's what the fans want. They made the World Series in 2016. They were up 3-1 in the series and blew the last 3 games. The fans of Cleveland just want to go to a parade. They want to have a parade down Euclid Avenue. They want to have a World Series championship. And the way that they've kind of cut costs this off season has upset some people in the belief that they're not really going for it. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
I think that with the pitching staff they have right now, they can. And the horrible division they're in, it was a joke of a division. They'll probably win the division, and anything can happen after that. But we'll see. Yeah, I mean. I sure want to go to a parade before I die. That's for darn sure. I went to the Cavaliers parade when they won it in 2016, and I thought their Indians were going to do the same. But that's what people want. I think everything else will be forgiven. There won't be any talk about Dolans being cheap. If they can win a World Series, everything will be cool after that.
Well, if you are a Tribe fan or not, this sounds like a really great book that chronicles the history of our baseball team. It's called The Ultimate Cleveland Indians Time Machine Book. It's available from March 1st. You can get it at gitlinbooks.com. That's GITLIN books.com. Thank you so much, Marty, for coming on the show, and hopefully we'll be talking again to you soon.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, this band was recently listed as one of 7 Cleveland bands to keep an eye on, as well as Cleveland Music City's Best Cleveland Albums of 2018. It's Jivviden with a new track called Little Lost Love. That was Jivviden with Little Lost Love. They'll be part of the Cleveland Music City's Best of 2018 showcase at Mahal's on March 1st, along with Mahalos and the Venus Flytraps. And that's it for this week. Thank you so much to Marty Gitlin for coming on the show and talking about his book. Make sure you check out gitlinbooks.com after March 1st to pick that copy up for yourself, and also the Window Dogs and Jivviden for the tunes. You've been listening to the Cool CLE Show, brought to you by coolcleveland.com. Have a good one.